introduce Aaron?
Yes, I'll introduce Aaron.
We're live already.
Oh, yeah. Welcome aboard.
All of the time. I've been yelling at our producer, Aaron Price, about starting us late. And like, you could start us early. Like, before we'll be quiet while the music's playing. And so that's my just desserts.
He's like, why don't you
Still
shut
a
up
little rough.
because we're rolling.
I know we're rolling. Well, not like the way that you've rolled before.
I'm rolling right now.
I've never rolled.
I thought we were all rolling right
No.
now.
Yeah.
Did I miss the
I'm not a
memo?
roller. Well, welcome to Enlightened AF. I am
Yes.
Tricia Carr.
And I'm Aidan Demarest.
And we have a really special in-studio guest today.
Yes, we
Aidan,
do.
why don't... Oh, this is going to be difficult. So we have 3 Aarons in studio, but I'll let you introduce one of them.
3. Oh, that's
Three?
right. You two. Yeah, we have 3 Aarons. Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron, our guest today, Aaron Schwartz,
Hello.
is a good friend of mine and an actor and an enlightened individual. Yeah.
I'm working on it.
He's rolling.
I'm
He's
rolling
right now.
You know,
so
that
that's called
proves-
all kinds of
That proves that you are enlightened, that
Oh,
you didn't
really?
accept it.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
or I'm
maybe
just
to some
like
degree.
fake modest. I'm LA modest is what we call it.
He's also a guru at the ashram that I go to all the time.
Nag Champa in my pocket right now.
No, he is a great guy, and we're happy to have him, right? And this means
He's an
that
actor. You forgot to mention what he
I
actually does
said
for
he's an
a
actor.
living. You did?
I'm an actor. For a living, I dabble in everything. But yeah, acting is one of them.
Yes.
In true LA style. You dabble in
Exactly.
everything.
And we met in bars,
Yeah.
working in bars.
Working in bars.
My husband
You
and
could
I
say-
met in the bar, too.
Working in bars.
Working in bars.
We were
Aiden.
working. We met in a bar one time. I woke up and Aaron was at the end of my bed. I don't know what happened.
I was like, hey, what's up?
You just
More Molly?
that's your safety story about, because that 90% of the time that
It's
works on how
It's a 50-50 split.
your meetings of
Yes.
whomever. Yeah.
Yes. It's a fit. Like, is this your shoe? Is a frequent way to remember who somebody is.
Well, Aaron and I don't know each other. Oh, the reason that I said there are 3 Aarons in studio,
Yes.
as I already mentioned, our producer, Aaron Price, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have our guest, Aaron Schwartz. My middle name is actually Aaron, spelled Aaron.
Really?
Yeah.
A female name
Yeah.
spelled Aaron.
It's my father's first name. So I was the 4th girl, and that much to their chagrin, I was not a boy, and so they just stuck his middle name. And
Don't you think that's
There
weird?
are 7 A's in the first name
Right.
Yeah,
in
'cause-
this
And
room right
all
now.
the A's
That's
are
amazing.
happening.
Yeah.
Lots of A's.
We talked about it already, because why do I feel like all country people name their daughters boy names in the middle name?
In the middle. I was
Yeah.
about to say that. I
They
was about
do
to say
that.
it's
Yeah,
kind
Tony.
of
and
it's a country.
Tony
It's kind of a country thing to do, to name. It's not. I don't know how
Sammy
strong that
Joe.
traditional. Well, also to do the father's first name in the middle. Yeah, Jennifer Jason Lee.
Amber
That's right,
Joe,
Jason,
Crystal
yeah.
Joe.
I
And
don't
it
know.
works. You don't
Crystal Joe.
question it when you hear it. You're like, oh, okay, Jennifer.
middle
And
name?
middle name's Jason.
That's sexy
Cool.
for some reason. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't know if Patricia.
Well, it's
Aaron
I have
Carr-
met girls named Tony before. A couple girls with
Yeah.
the first name Tony,
Well,
and I
Antoinette.
thought that was sexy.
I do
just
too.
thought, yeah, it's Tony.
I
It's
have-
usually
Tony.
Italian girls.
Yeah.
There's like a whole like
Maybe.
Antoinette,
They have
Antonia.
nice butts, usually.
It's what?
What'd you
Nothing.
say? Butts?
Yeah.
I heard butts.
I just
What?
started thinking about a girl I met named Tony, and I was like,
She had a
oh,
great
nice
butt.
butts. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you guys look at me as if I'm going to do something with.
What do you
Sorry.
got, Trish?
What else you got going on?
Yeah, let's
Set
talk
us
a
up.
lot, because we don't do this often, and we
No.
can flip to that side. Let's talk a lot about ass, girl,
Okay,
ass,
ass, girl,
today.
ass. All
Because
right, let's
Tricia
do
just
it.
doesn't know what to go in that field. So
I don't have very much ass.
Right. Well, we'll
Mine's
get up in it.
I have a teeny
We'll
tiny
get up in
hiney.
it.
Now
My-
I'm uncomfortable.
My ass. I'm well proportioned. Let's just say that.
Okay, so that's
I like that you
good.
talked about your anatomy in the first 5 minutes of the show.
I did.
Yes,
it's
Well, you're talking about girls' ass. I'm the only girl in the room.
I know.
when
That's
Aidan
it.
and I get in a room together, women just start talking about their anatomies, which is what happens. Yeah,
Aiden just wants you to take your shirt off. He's mentioned
Oh,
it
no.
like 7 times.
Yeah, get
it's
up.
no bueno right
No,
now.
I told her that if the show got super boring, she's like, "What's he going to talk about? What are we
I didn't
doing
say,
today?"
"What's
And I
he
go,
gonna
"If
talk
the show gets boring, we'll just make him take his
It
shirt
can't
off."
get boring. There's psychic stuff going on.
Fact.
in
No,
this. I
and
was-
there's
that's-
color
that
ins.
brought me
It
in
never's going to
here.
get boring.
Okay.
But the place that we worked, whenever things got boring, I just remember I'd just be like, "Everybody's shirts
Everybody's shirts off. This is part of your uniform.
Yeah.
It is a WeHo gay bar.
Yes,
so
in
that's
the middle
like a
of Boys
normal
Town thing. So it was just
Yeah.
like when things were slow and it seemed like nobody was drinking, I'd be like, "Shirts off, everybody."
Yeah, and they're all like, "Yep, okay."
And that was it instantly.
No problem. I did a cocktail menu at a WeHo bar, And I guess it was, officially a gay bar, but it was like a nightclub and everything.
Officially.
Well, I don't know. I don't
On
want
that strip, even if it's not a gay bar, it
It
becomes a
just
gay
officially
bar.
is.
Is there a flag on the front? Rainbow flag says yes.
I don't remember. And I was giving a training on why vermouth should be refrigerated. But if you guys don't know, vermouth is wine and it should be refrigerated. And I said,
Or drinking.
what's that?
Or drank all in one
Or
night.
drunk, sure, in one night. Ew. Ugh.
Just
So
glug,
sweet.
glug, glug, glug.
No, that's desperation. But I was saying, if you don't, then it goes rotten. It goes off. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, seriously, it's unmistakable. It's not like a refined palate. It tastes like butthole. And they're like, oh, sign me up. I was like,
Yeah,
wrong
don't say
crowd.
it tastes like butthole.
Wrong crowd for that.
Is that on a
analogy.
cocktail menu?
Turn them off.
They're like, okay.
They're
Clink,
like
out of the fridge.
aging hot vermouth. Yeah. So, well, let's talk about what Aaron does. Aaron is an actor.
I am an actor.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you, about your journey, about your work. What you doing? What you about?
Been a long
Did you
journey.
see the topic for the show too?
No.
Oh, did you send him that?
Sorry, what's
I
the topic?
don't think I did.
Oh,
Sorry.
because I loved
Okay.
it.
I
Actually,
like
today we cooked
living
it
off
up.
the seat of my pants.
cooked it
anyway.
up.
We cooked it up, but so we should talk about the topic
It
of the
is.
show. There's always one, and we rarely get to it until the end.
No, that's all right, as long as we mention it.
Right?
Aaron just said it.
Transformation.
It's about the seat of his pants. No,
Okay.
it's about transformation is what we decided today would be.
Nice.
Transformation, mind, body, spirit. The how you could focus on one. Whether if you want to transform your body, you really got to
thirsty.
focus on the other two parts of the complex, the mind and the spirit as well,
big time.
right?
Yeah, sometimes you have to stop focusing on the thing that you want to transform
Mm-hmm.
and focus on the other aspects, because I think our minds play tricks on us to keep us in a place of like being stagnant a lot of the time. So like
Yeah.
if you're focusing on, okay, I got to lose weight, you'll never lose weight because your body will always trick you into like, you know.
Status quo. The
Yeah.
lower mind definitely does that. The higher intuitive mind, the higher self. What do you guys call it? What do you call it? The
The-
higher self?
Who?
Fifth,
Who's us guys?
I don't know.
Third
What do you-
eye?
Us guys.
You're. I'm not allowed to say that
Oh,
of which
what-
we do not speak.
In program, you mean?
You're not supposed to say that
I
even.
can say program.
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
What is it?
What do you mean?
self?
Higher-
higher
higher
power.
power.
Higher
Higher power.
Same deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not a secret. That's not a secret handle.
I
Are we talking about God?
No, yeah. Higher
Kind of.
power.
Yeah, okay.
Your
She's
God
second-
essence.
Yeah.
But the lower mind, aka the ego mind, and I don't mean like arrogant egoic. I mean the ego at the core of it is the mechanism that wants to keep you physically alive. And of course we pile on things to that. When we put things in our shadow, then we somehow believe that to stay we get a survival response if someone steals our parking space. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
how the bullshit gets added to it. But the ego at its pure core is just meaning to keep us physically alive. But it's very primitive. It's very basic. And so it believes that change is a threat because we've not died yet. So why would we change any of the circumstances that have kept us
Does,
alive? Yeah. So it's
there's
not
also like there's
simple.
also a whole like genetic aspect to that. Like
Totally.
we were cavemen, and whatever's working for us should stay the same. And we have this whole little. Well, there's always a war, I think, in everybody's psyche. But
Definitely, yeah.
Mine definitely. I had a little what?
I don't know.
No, I was like, wait, definitely, yeah. What?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
have a
No, I
war
hear you.
going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes my war is stronger than others, but I mean, there's always a little
I like
war.
the caveman part.
Yeah,
was
like
just-
we are cavemen
Yeah.
ultimately. Like everything that we do,
Or
in essence, is if you could take it down to like this nitty gritty, just base of what we're doing. It's all of us just trying to survive. You
Yeah.
know? And then there's layers added to it when we talk about self-awareness and consciousness. But yeah, I think ultimately when it comes to changing, our bodies do go to that like guttural
Yeah.
response of like don't fucking change. Can I curse? I'm sorry.
We get
Yes.
3 shits and 1 fuck.
Okay, so
And we never-
I just got one. I'm
We
sorry,
never
Aaron.
abide.
never made the budget.
We're
Okay.
deep in
Never
debt.
done?
We're
Okay,
deep
that's
in
it.
debt.
I don't know where she came up with that rule.
I made it up.
It's totally.
But we're deep
and we're
in-
never getting on the Christian network or anything.
No.
So it's not
Well,
happening.
there should be like a swear jar.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
There
the
should be.
podcast that I was working on, it was like
Filthy.
it wasn't through a network, so we were just we were talking.
No,
do we
it's
have
dirtiness.
do we have any rules from the network?
no.
It
The
was
reason
just Tricia's rule.
It's
No,
just
I'll tell you. I told you already, and you forgot. Is because if like we're not on iHeartRadio or some other outlet like that, and if it's just constant, then they get turned off. It's not like an FCC or a specific
Right.
rule.
Yeah.
It's just is this content
and you have to flag it
valuable at all?
censored or- yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we actually are explicit content on
Okay.
iTunes.
I
Nice.
forgot the bottle. Oh, never mind.
What are you
What
talking
bottle?
about?
I jumped to something
Oh,
else.
are we taking shots?
Yeah. No, I found a bottle of Astral tequila.
Oh, yeah.
That thing. Anyway, it's from another show, and I talked about the astral position, which
He means like
later.
as a sex position, and it doesn't make sense. It's somehow the woman gets choked out. I'll just tell you that.
Oh,
Totally
I know
makes
girls
sense.
that would like that, actually. Yeah.
Totally.
A couple.
I got taught it by a girl.
Yeah, they're into that. A lot of them are, surprisingly.
Sadly, and also sadly,
And sadly, and also warmly.
It was an
and
inspiration.
also
Well.
hotly.
Yes.
Hotly is a word, I think.
Super. I was like, wow, I guess we're doing that.
Well, Aaron. Wow,
Yes.
if you just start with A, and then I'm just done.
Everybody's confused
A1,
now today.
2.
There's not that many A names, actually.
That's true. Well, but Aaron, you actually started making money when you were a kid.
Yeah.
So talking about survival, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, as you may know, I'm an intuitive, and so I do study things like the chakra system, and the root chakra is the kind of the basic survival chakra, the one that is concerned with survival. And
Right.
we're talking about building the survival instinct and everything. Well, if you start making money when you're a kid, like you must have a hard time breaking through some of those barriers. I'm just assuming. I have no idea. You tell me.
I think actually, you think it would be cultivated, that root chakra, and I think it actually kind of numbs it, because if you've done something as a child, if you've really worked as a child, and like I didn't think about I'm going to make millions of dollars as a kid. I was like, I want to be in movies, and the money was kind of like the afterthought. So I ended up booking all these things and making a lot of money and actually paying rent for the family and providing for my family, because we were not well off. My father was pretty well off, but my mom and dad separated when I was pretty young. And so I ended up providing for the family, but I didn't think of it as a survival mechanism, or I didn't think of it as like, okay, God, I got to book another one, otherwise we're not going to pay rent. All that stuff was never like, maybe it was, but I don't remember it being at my forethought. I think the major thing was, how will I fulfill this dream of mine? It was almost like, I want to be an astronaut. Let's go to the astronaut school. I want to be an actor. Let's figure out how to do this. And I would like, I think it was just an obsession with it that ended up becoming some sort of survival technique later on in my life. I kind of went back to what I did as a kid and went, okay, how did I do it then?
Yeah.
And how can I use that now? And I actually think my root chakra wasn't really cultivated strongly because of that. I think other kids who are raised in like, work on your business, work on money, work on these kind of aspects in your life, they end up having that like kind of cultivated. And I was the exact opposite. I didn't even think about it, so I didn't really practice it.
Oh, I see. So
Yeah.
you're saying like it happens, it felt like it happened so naturally that you didn't, are you saying you didn't really have a connection to the money part of doing your job?
Not until I got older, not until I started seeing bills and I started, until like things started getting tight, and then I was like, okay, yeah, now I need to focus on what I did as a child, because it worked for me then. What did I do then? And, a lot of it was, I wouldn't say it ignorance, but a lot of it was, focusing on, like we were saying earlier, focusing on other things than money. Like I think a lot of people's faults when they're trying to make money or trying to focus on something is that they don't divert their attention to something else that correlates with what they're trying to accomplish, and focus on that more than the other. Because I think if you like have those blind sights on, you focus only on one thing, you most of the time won't end up getting that thing.
Because what you actually are doing, the universe is just energy. Everything is energy. And so if you're focusing so hard on lose weight, or make money, what you tend to focus on is the lack of it.
Right.
You tend to
Yeah.
focus on the fact
And
that
that's it.
that's actually what you're focused. That's actually what the frequency is that you're generating is, I'm overweight, or my body is unsatisfactory, or my bank account is too low, or I'm not generating the right money, and that's why. So if you can pivot and focus on something else that's easier, and just basically raise your frequency, meaning like to, toward love, toward acceptance, toward creativity and the life force kind of feeling, rather than the lack, the abundance rather than the lack, then it actually just raises your whole vibration, and then that other area will be benefited, right?
That explains it perfectly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think of it that way, but I have heard like through like things of The Secret where they talk about like, don't put out there that I don't want to get this or I do want to get that, because the universe doesn't hear, don't, or do.
literal.
They
That's
just
the
hear
super
the
trick, though.
object of what
Yeah.
you're focusing on. Yeah.
The universe is energy, I should say, but the universe, is very literal.
Yeah.
So if you say, I need to make more money, the the content of that, the
Is
sum total
money.
of that is, and also the lack of money.
Yeah.
The fact that there is no money.
So, but in layman's, okay, so break it down. Like I've heard that as well,
Yeah.
and I'm super aware of it, which can be super frustrating. Let's say you get into that space, then you're like, okay, like right now, I need to make a certain amount of money by the end of the year. It's very like I could think like I need to make a certain amount of money just because I want to do certain things, or I don't have that amount of money.
Yeah.
And I think everybody out there, I mean, there's a lot of people who know that sort of the secret idea that like focus on the positive, or like, don't think about what you don't have, think about how, what you do have.
And you can know it, and it won't
Easy
do
said.
anything for you.
In fact,
though.
there's a
You
little
really
shame
have to
in it,
practice
right?
Yeah.
There's a little, because then you're kind of like, fuck, I'm just focusing on it. Then you know what you're not doing right, but that shift doesn't
You can
happen.
Spiral, yeah.
Yeah, and then you're even more sort of, in other words, what is, in layman's terms, what is that flip? How do you do that? How do you do that axis flip, which is really like changing the narrative, or what we're talking about, transformation. But how do you do that without getting caught up? Like right now, I'm in this pivotal time where things could be really great, or things could be like the same and maybe shittier.
Yeah.
So like how, and you know how you're kind of looking at that fork in the road, and you're like, oh, I know how to do this one. I've done shitty a lot before. How do I focus on like abundance and greatness and
And especially if you have, like in my life, I definitely had a lot of like ups, great ups, but for the past 10 years, there have been more downs than ups, I think. And not to be negative, I just think I see it as a learning process. And I think it becomes a habit. I think you get used to being in a bad position, and you kind of fall into more bad positions and go, you kind of become complacent with them. And I think the trick is to like let it kind of seethe in you a little bit. Don't freak out, but like kind of let it bother you to the point where you're like, I need to change this.
Well, Tony Robbins says that we change things when we are sick of putting up with them. It's to your point. So actually, that's why we titled it Transformation of the Mind, Body, Spirit, because we are. The cool thing is, we're just one essence, we're just one being, and it's also, the universe is just one song. That's what that means. So there is actually no such thing as separation, but we play in separation in order to create.
Right.
So as an individual, we are a complex of three pieces. We're a triune being, mind, body, spirit. And this actually demonstrates how energy goes from being really expanded to contracted, from being waves to particles, as we see it in quantum physics. So the spirit would be, or the emotional body would be the most expanded. Then the mind is something that is a bit more coalesced. So you have a feeling, and then you have a thought.
It reminds me of Deepak Chopra was just talking.
Oh, yeah?
He was on Tony Robbins, and he talked a lot about how our mind came before our bodies.
Yes.
We created our bodies. And what you're saying about quantum physics, I'm sorry, I just had to
Yeah,
like
Yes,
spit
no,
it
that's
out.
exactly it. I
Like
love
it's-
Deepak.
yeah,
I mean, it's definitely I would consider a mentor, even though I've never met him. But as
Our minds
my neighbor.
surpass our bodies almost. Is he your neighbor?
Yeah.
for real,
I want to like have a beer with him.
He's my neighbor.
He seems so cool.
He owes
Knock
me a
on
pair
his
of
door.
pliers.
He's like a head
Seriously?
of a hospital, and like he's an incredible human.
get him on the show. What's
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Seriously.
Why do we
Totally
have this?
kidding. He's not
this
my
guy?
neighbor.
Yeah,
you
why
think
do you
I
have
would?
me?
You think
Or
I
just-
wouldn't have mentioned
Or just
that I
let
got
me sit in a
Deepak?
corner while he's
I'm like,
here.
I just left
Watch.
him. He's such a douchebag. He owes me these pliers for months now.
Pliers. Well, we live in LA. What do I know? Maybe he did. I think he probably is.
It'd be
based
so great if I was like, you know what? Maybe Deepak Chopra would be good for our show about
Maybe.
like,
We'll see.
spirituality.
We'll
Wonder
have
what
Aaron
that guy's
Venom.
doing today. But right after we have Aaron on,
Yeah, it's okay. Warm up with me. It's fine.
can you take this stool over here? Because Deepak and Tony Robbins are
Yeah, I'm
coming
just gonna
in.
leave.
No, stay.
I'm gonna hide under the table.
We may
we
need
need-
you to be
I'm gonna-
shirtless. So
Okay, I'll be
You stay.
shirtless and I'll massage Deepak's
Oh wait, Tony. I
feet.
think
It'll be-
Tony could take his shirt off too. Apparently, he's very fit.
Tony Robbins.
Robbins, yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Tony Robbins is ripped.
So,
Yeah.
He's old man ripped, which is, I mean, it's
That's
like,
all right.
you know,
What are you
I still-
pointing at me for?
I didn't know. I meant like in general. I mean,
You should take the ripped part and
I'm,
run with
I'm
it.
happy with old man ripped.
I'm getting there.
Happy
I
with
would
it.
talk. I could say the
Happy
same thing
with
about
it.
myself.
There you go. Okay, let's get to that part then. Let's talk about transformation.
Well,
Like
let me finish because you wanted to know how. I'm telling you how.
Okay, good.
is that you
Now
can-
I'm already lost.
You can no. We're talking about the triune being. So, and actually, that's what Aaron was alluding to. If you focus on one part, we have this tool where we can actually focus on one part that's a little easier to focus on. So we could go and exercise because it's easy to today to just work on the body, and then we could work on our mind by changing the narrative, as you've been saying.
And kind of ignore one, almost like just take one out of the equation.
Well, it's not necessarily. I mean, yeah, if you're having a struggle there, then. But the point of the emotional body or the spirit is actually that literal frequency that I'm talking about, just like a radio tower. It's actually your feeling state that sends out your signal, that then eventually creates thoughts and eventually creates your reality, your physical reality. So we focus on those different parts.
And what's that called?
I'm saying the mind, body, spirit is what I'm
Mind,
talking
body,
about. The complex.
Oh, all right. I thought there was
the
like
triune being.
trifecta.
I'm like, what's that thing called?
Triune being.
No, I think that's the sort of the 4-leaf clover that everybody's always looking for, and I know, especially with increased awareness, and also having had huge ups and downs in my own personal life and career, it's like. It's really, and right now is a really abundant, great time. I feel super aware. I feel healthy. I feel, a lot of great stuff. But that tendency to see, like a negative road and think about what you don't have as opposed to what you could get.
Yeah.
And it's even worse being aware almost. They say like in my program, in a 12-step program, once you've gone into a 12-step program, going back out and drinking, it becomes impossible because you have a head full of program.
You've raised your awareness.
Right.
For
So
sure.
you can't, it's just wrecks
can't trick
drinking
yourself.
for you. People do it all the time, but you're sitting at a bar like, fuck, I know I'm a super drunk, but anyway.
And that's hard because then your body gets activated, and that's the thing that's really difficult to train back into the awareness.
Well, physically, when you've
it
been
takes longer to
training
train
and you
the
get
body.
out of shape a little bit, like this is the worst part. Having been in good shape, having been mentally balanced and feeling like a thing, and also being financially balanced, when you step back, it's almost worse. Because
you're aware. Yeah.
No, totally.
You've grown.
Like, so having had as a kid actor, I'm sure having a thing, or for me, a career ups and then having to do other things like bartend in the middle of a boys' town for a little bit.
I've I was on Gossip Girl for 3 seasons.
Oh, that's great.
Mid second season, when I was making the most money that I was making on it, I didn't need to bartend, but I didn't want to lose my job that I had in New York. So I kept it. I kept twice a week. So I would be recognized behind the bar, and it would be like this irritating. In the beginning, it was irritating. I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing? And then I was just like, wait a second. This is such a fickle business. I'm keeping it going.
Super admirable, I think. Like that you stayed there.
Yeah, it's probably,
or
it was just like
pessimistic.
Pessimistic more. I think
super.
I think it got to the point where I was like, okay, I see where this business goes in my life. Sometimes let's just try to. And I wasn't completely wrong, because I did have to go bartend full time right after that, and then back and forth.
And good bartending jobs in LA are actually harder to get sometimes than
get.
acting jobs.
Yeah, sometimes
New
you have to be in
York,
better
you can
shape
make
too.
so much money. Yeah.
You have to be better looking on a bartending gig than a lot of shows.
It's true.
Some
of them
bartending.
are shows.
And
actually.
you make way more money.
Sometimes, yes, exactly.
I know a lot of actors over the years that people that had a lot of shows or films or whatever, and they were working with me in bars, and everybody thought they had gotten rich from whatever they had done.
Oh, they do. They do. They get a quick sum of money and a lot of it, but they don't realize that might be the last big job they get in 5 years. They might get one in a month, and they might become really famous, or they might not see another job in 5-10 years.
In the brief time I did it, the mailbox lottery, I called it, and I did commercials.
Residuals. I still get those.
My husband does, because my husband's a composer. So he's like, my BMI check is coming, and he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Not once did I ever think
how the cycle's
this
running.
would be a great check to go into an IRA.
That
is a good idea. Here's $2,300 that I should forget I ever got, because I didn't know 10 minutes ago I was ever
but you
getting
always
it.
need it.
Dink!
You
no,
always
it's always
need
like, oh, perfect timing. I needed a new car.
For my car. Yeah, I needed
car.
It, for my
it was
car
always
payments.
stupid car.
Yeah, my
thing.
car payments being paid.
I'm an
for
actor in
yeah.
LA. I need to have a fucking Escalade. To get
so
to my
true.
Colgate commercials. I
So
seriously
true.
had a giant SUV and and one tiny baby. And a giant SUV that took me to West Side casting every day.
Every actor in LA.
And I got out of my
can
giant
barely afford
SUV
their Beamer.
with my giant stroller and my tiny baby in it and my dwindling checks.
It's amazing. LA. Hashtag
We almost
LA.
lived in that Escalade.
Well, you were asking Aaron something, and when I interrupted because I wanted to answer your question.
I forget.
Transformation.
Transformation.
I was a fat little kid. There's a transformation.
Oh,
I did a
I
movie
forgot
called
about
Heavyweights, which was about a fat camp.
Heavyweights, really? What year was that?
1994, 95.
94?
I think it was released in
Okay.
95.
Okay.
It
I
was
didn't
Judd
think of that
Apatow's first film.
What? That's
amazing.
amazing.
It was a fun little project.
And it was called Heavyweight.
Called Heavyweights. It
You
was
know what
about a fat
honestly,
camp.
I want to know. I actually never looked besides the Mighty Ducks. You told me that. I did not know any of the other film stuff.
He was
Yeah.
he was in
Heavyweights is good.
he was in the Mighty
Heavyweights
Ducks too. When was Mighty Ducks? What year?
92.
92. Okay,
92,
yeah.
or,
So
yeah.
Heavyweights was first.
Heavyweights was second.
Second.
But
But it was Judd
First.
Apatow's first film?
First film.
That's
He wrote it
crazy.
with one of the co-writers of the Mighty Ducks.
and
Wow.
were you a fat kid, like a regular fat kid?
Are we supposed
Or-
to say
pretty-
fat kid?
I'm
He
here,
said
so I'm
fat
allowed
kid.
to. Yeah.
He said fat kid.
Am I allowed to? I don't know.
Were you like a fat kid in school or just in the
we
movie?
got pictures of
Oh,
you.
I was fat before the movie came out. Hence,
So
I
people
got
like you were
in
a
the
fat
Ducks.
kid.
I was getting fat, and then by the time I hit like 12, I was like full blown, like
I can't even
borderline
imagine.
obese.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't say obese, but I was over
Now
than
was this
chubby.
like tons of pepperoni pizzas?
It was tons of
situation?
everything. I just found fast. I was a vegetarian from the time. My parents are like major hippies. I don't know why I'm looking at you, but you're talking. I mean, they were very into.
He points at
I
people
went
when,
to-
when he finds your target. Old ripped guy,
Old rip
hippie.
guy, hippie.
Neither of these are insulting. We'll take it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I went
We'll
to
take it.
ashrams when I was a kid. I was
Me
very
too.
into. I
Oh.
knew like mantras, and
Uh-huh.
I was a vegetarian until I was around 9,
Uh-huh.
and then I started found meat, and then found like my father's side was religious Jews.
Okay.
And so like I would go over for the Sabbath meal, and there was lots
Best
of challah and
excuse to
lots
eat.
of good. Oh man, closets.
I
of
would
candy.
become an Orthodox Jew just for that challah.
It's so, oh that.
I have
I'm
no
telling
idea
you,
about the
Orthodox
theology.
Jews.
I would eat my way through
Hasidic
that
Jews
fucking
make
shit.
the best challah in the world.
Yes.
It's like crunchy on the outside, soft,
and
and
a little
warm on the
bird's
inside.
nest with the egg in it. Of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
I really think challah screams for bacon, which kind of
It
wrecks
does,
the
yeah.
whole thing.
Well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, yeah. So I don't know where I was.
Well, you
You
so
were
then
fat,
it was
eating a
it
lot of
was
challah.
when you met meat. When you met meat, that's when you started to put on some weight. as a
I
little
would
kid?
say it's when my like attitude towards food changed completely. Towards it was more of an independent attitude instead of like here's what you can eat and not being fed nori seaweed for snacks. I was like okay, here's Taco Bell, here's and I started getting into it. And as I did my first film, there was craft service, and then I got to the point of making some money. So then it was like all right, no holes barred here. I can just do whatever
And
I
now
want.
you could tell mom like she had to order pizza.
And I was like, pizza, mom. It's
Yeah.
pizza time.
yeah.
I'm
Pizza-
waiting. No, I was never
Pizza,
like
or
that.
maybe I'm too sick to go to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can't go to school today. I'll pay them off. No, I can never. Never did that. I actually went to a school for actors, which was like a
Were
lot
you
of
here
money.
in
I
LA,
spent a
or
lot
you
of
in
money
New York?
in New York. Spent a lot of money on it, but I was able to kind of, not be that douchebag. you
Yeah.
know?
The
I wasn't-
douchebag 12-year-old.
Yeah,
Out
I
here-
was not that.
Nobody-
I
Out here
was
was a lot
surrounded. They
different.
wouldn't let me do that. Yeah.
That's nice. So, yeah. So wait, the first film you got, you weren't playing the fat kid. He said it. I didn't. Say
I,
it.
w- I
didn't
was
start it.
I was playing one of
He
the
said
co-ducks who was a
Oh, okay.
chubby kid.
Oh, so Mighty Ducks was your first film?
First film.
Oh
yeah.
wow, amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. It
Yeah.
was life changing. And then Heavyweights was I was fat, so I did have a transformation. By the time I was around 18, 19, I started really losing weight to the point where I started getting like really skinny. And,
Really? Interesting.
And it was not focusing on losing weight it was more for health reasons and more. I wanted to get laid as well. That was
Yeah.
That
another-
always
That's-
jumps in.
that helps.
I was
That's
just
for
gonna
your
say
health.
that.
Yeah,
That
that
can be
is-
for your health.
Everybody
Healthy.
gets
Yeah.
everybody gets super set conscious, and about 18 is when I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I got to do something here. I got to take it up a
Yeah.
notch.
That girl didn't look at me, and I thought she was going to look at me.
You're also
Why
trying to
not?
raise your quality level.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're like, well,
What
I
am
can
I
definitely
worth?
get laid, but
Yeah.
it's that really is what I'm left with
Yeah,
here.
am I a
So,
75?
I'm trying to jump to a
cut
7 to a
prime
9
rib,
here.
or am I? Yeah.
And since I wasn't rich, I had to work on it, so I became a
Same,
lifeguard. Yeah,
same,
I was
yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
not rich, so I'm going to have to look like something for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, and I can only play the like, hey, I was in the Mighty Ducks. I still try to use it, but it doesn't really work that often. Yeah,
Oh,
so.
then you'd be like Urkel,
Yeah.
like whatever his name is. I can't
Don't you
remember.
remember who I am?
Did
Yeah.
Urkel
Apparently-
do that?
Yeah, I can't remember his name because he's like contemporary.
Jaleel White.
Thank you. He's like
Is he
contemporary.
still riding Urkel?
Well,
Did
he
Ernst-
was. He was all through. He was all through. Like he's L.A. local or Orange County or something
and he
like
goes
that.
to clubs a lot.
And he would go to clubs and
I think I
like
bowled with him one
and
time.
like literally my friends when we were like they would go to the 13 and over clubs and stuff like that. And he'd be there like telling them that he was
19 and over.
Would he go,
There
did
were
I
13
do
well,
that? And
there
like
was-
show up and they go, come on, mama.
There
Come
were-
with me.
There were 13 and over clubs. It's called Cloud 9 at Knott's Berry Farm.
know
I
what
do-
happens.
That's so awesome. I did not know.
13 and over?
I was in New
Tons-
York at the
Tons
time.
of blow. Jobs and the other kind of blow. I mean, like just
What?
13 and over.
Where?
It's
All
like
the blows.
It's like a church lock-in every night.
I missed the LA life. I did. I
That's
was in
it.
Hollywood, but in Hollywood in New York.
Well,
I missed the
that's
whole
it.
LA.
I didn't
life.
go to any of those. I didn't
got
go to
here
any
at
of those.
19, and there was a ton of kid actors. Like,
Yeah.
and I was, and I go further back than you guys. So like Drew Barrymore and stuff.
Oh
we
my
were all
God.
drinking at like the Formosa, and I was like a teenager playing. I was a teenager playing a much younger kid.
Yeah.
For
Mm-hmm.
commercials. And all those people, like all that stuff, were we had partying all around town. So I was so grateful, even then, that I had not done anything before because I got here at 19, and they were all done, like burnt out.
Oh, big time.
Like
They
all
probably
the
started at 13.
like everybody was burnt out. I was holding Tori Spelling's hair and puking into in a potted palm. They were
That's
already
some
pretty
good,
much.
That's some good.
That's a good name drop
Name
there.
dropping.
That's some good puke dropping.
Yeah, because it's not really name dropping because it's like I was holding her hair.
I was
back.
helping her
I took
out.
care of her.
Yeah, no, we all partied all up and down that street. But my point was is that I was kind of even then super grateful, and this isn't a humble brag, like because I was like, oh, I want more. But I remember being like, I would be, especially because I'm a huge more person. I was super aware then that if I had gotten any of that, I'd be definitely dead. Like because it
You
was
knew
just
your
a shit
personality
show.
would.
Oh, but they
Yeah.
were a shit show, and some of them were dorks.
Yeah, well,
You know what
a
I
lot
mean?
of them are
Like Drew was a huge dork. A lot of people in there were like
dorks with power. That's what it is.
And
A lot of yes people
and the
around
partying
them.
was out of control, but they were like, I could tell just nerds that had been put in the spotlight. I was really actually cool.
I have to tell you guys, in case for those who are watching and listening live, 323-524-2599.
Oh, we get callers?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Well, I just now mentioned it, and I can't remember if I put it in the.
Can I say something before we change subject? Or I don't know if
Yeah,
we change
of course.
subject. Talking about child actors and transformation, I'm in the process of developing a documentary about child actors because I grew up with child actors. I was a child
fantastic.
actor.
I didn't even know that. That was not
And
a good
soon-
segue. But it was a really good segue.
Yeah, man, I just did, I
No,
learned
I
from
want to
my
hear that.
podcasting
So,
days.
Yeah, please.
And so, yeah, a friend of mine, Chris Canote, and I are going to start making this documentary. I'm in development stage, getting funding right now. But yeah, it's going to be pretty much because I've had a lot of questions like, what is it about child actors? Like, because there was the whole I don't know if you heard about the whole Goldberg, the goalie from the Ducks. He is now like. There's a whole TMZ story about him being
No.
like off the rail. He looks horrible
no.
and he's not doing well. And I wish him the best. But it's like there are a lot of actors out there.
Addiction or something? Or?
Addiction.
Oh, gosh.
And now he's homeless.
Oh,
and
no,
he's back and
it's
forth from
terrible.
being homeless. And there's a lot of child actors that go that route.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of child actors that either don't continue following the industry or they stay in the industry and they end up making it, or they're kind of normal.
Just mellow out, yeah.
And so I had the ability to know a lot of child actors throughout my life. And so we're going to go and we're going to talk about we're going to like kind of explore this journey of what a child actor, how that transformation occurs within a child actor from being, a successful child actor, not successful, making it again or not making it again. And what is the like crux of that? What causes that shift?
That's
And, yeah, I'm
fascinating. I
looking
would
into
totally
it.
watch that.
I'm getting
Me
into
too.
it.
What's it going to be? Were you going to start shooting it now?
I'm
Where's
starting
it gonna
shooting
be?
soon. I'm probably getting Corey Feldman attached to it. I went to school with Macaulay Culkin, Christina Ricci, so I'm trying to get them. They're a little difficult to get, but Macaulay Culkin has a podcast, so
Oh, he
I might
does?
barter
Oh, cool. And
to
well,
be in
his-
his pod. To
And
like-
his brother, he has. At least
Kieran
one-
is
yeah.
a good friend. Was a
Yeah.
good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I would like to talk to him as well. But there are certain people. Jonathan Lipnicki is a good friend of mine. I'm going to talk to him about it. All of the Ducks. Going to talk to Judd about the whole thing. Going to talk to a lot of the producers behind it. Talk to a lot of casting directors, and kind of follow some young actors now, and talk to young actors back then. Some of that have made it. Some people that are not really doing well as well. I'm going to talk to everybody, and I really want to kind of.
Ugh, I hate the story about the guy and the
That's
homeless
very
kid.
sad, yeah.
Oh, it's like we all try to help him so many times, and it's just it has a lot to do with addiction and the whole.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help somebody unless they want to be helped. But
Of course.
what causes their
unbelievable.
head to get to that spot? What I mean, I'm a little crazy, and I think a lot of it has to do with me being a child actor. But what is it like? Is it the chasing the dragon syndrome? Is it like a drug? Do you never get your perfect fix?
I don't know.
And I don't know what it is
I
either.
I
know
have
what
a
it is
theory
for
that
me.
people talk
but-
about child actors, and I don't think so. Like, you could talk about, like, from all the way back to, like, Judy Garland all the way through. I
Yeah.
believe, because I know the history of, like, the genetic history of addiction, that they would have been addicts no matter what.
No matter what.
And they were actually better off if having been actors.
Is it just bad luck?
No,
That's
I
another
think they would
question.
have
Like,
been, like, I
are
think
they
his
addicts
addiction
that
was
happen
there.
to become famous, and then all of a
Yes.
sudden, boom.
And general, yes, and I mean, I don't see it as. So I don't think that.
I think there is some nurture to it, though. I don't think it's all
Well,
nature.
I think, well, that's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nurture
well,
to it.
if you sit in
Parents and,
yes,
you know.
I suppose, and
Well,
yeah,
I think nature and nurture play into everything. So
Big
yeah,
time.
definitely.
But I think we also, as humans, love the whole Phoenix Rising. We love the whole rags to riches
Big time,
and riches
yeah.
to rags. So you hear that story over and over again,
Right.
because people aren't interested in a broke ass heroin addict who stays one.
No, but I also
they
want to
love a
talk about
kid actor.
actors that are out there right now that were child actors that are not doing well, or like that make themselves look better on social media, and I want to definitely like dive into like what's the reality. I think for people who are pursuing it or people who are on the outside of it, I want them to also see like what is the reality of this business, and what are people really like behind the scenes.
That's what what. Sorry, and,
That's all right.
did you want to say something?
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Because when you said something about transformation in the car, we literally, Tricia and I really put a lot of time into thinking about what the show content is every week.
Well,
about 3 minutes.
No, but
It was like me. It was like
It doesn't
30
matter.
seconds. Good, I
It
got
doesn't, because she's
we always
genius.
create in the now.
It's because
like
anyway, because we've both been really slammed, and but right after I thought about that social media stuff, because I immediately think, oh, I'm supposed to put this up on social media,
Yeah.
and what's up on there, and then I even sometimes, a lot of times, my own social media surprises me. My question to you is like, how much of that transformation do you think people are now skipping, the internal transformation or external, like going from a fat kid to, consider, and I want to hear the rest of that story. Like, first of all, you haven't told anybody how you went from the fat kid to not being one.
okay.
But now with social media, like I look at my own and I'm thinking, oh, I got to put this thing up today, but I can see that, I was a really healthy guy yesterday, but I was kind of feeling like shit yesterday. So like, how much of this transformation, and I spent a lot of time really quietly doing some internal transformation myself when I had to, as a survival thing, how much do you think is getting sort of sidebarred these days by a lot of people because they're using social media as I look great, I'm good, super high up shot with a filter, and
Guilty of
yet
those.
they're not that healthy.
Yeah.
They're super fucking upset that day. They're posting a picture of a puppy and a flower, but they're tying a noose in their apartment.
Oh.
Like,
I hope it's not that bad. I think a lot of it helps.
None of that I was
think a lot
doing
of it
today.
helps certain people. I think a lot of
Yeah.
people want.
Oh, okay.
They cry out for attention, and I think there is an aspect of skipping the transformation and getting from like point A to point Z and not seeing the middle of it.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to see that on social media. But I also think it helps.
Well, I
people.
think that it doesn't actually matter what happens, or it only matters how you respond to it, because we're always only in control of our own frequency or our own inner state, no matter what. So someone looking beautiful, looking successful and everything can inspire me, or it can piss me off if I choose to be jealous of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's something that we just had a really gnarly full moon this week. I don't know if y'all felt it.
Oh, I felt it. Oh,
Seriously.
I feel like everything's changing in my life.
Yeah.
I feel like
It was
everything's
really
just-
intense.
But I kind of felt it shift. That's weird. Yesterday that you say that, because
It did,
yesterday I was
yeah.
like, "Geesh, okay, that must. Have
It
been
should do.
not
That
me."
makes sense. Yeah. Today I'm still. It usually shifts for me by that, but for some reason I'm still hanging on to it because I'm doing some inner work. I used the energy to do some work. But
Yeah.
the thing is, well, even that, you know what I mean. If we talk about something like astrology or the universal energies, the cosmic energies, it's just an offering, but it does help us to move through things, and we could either go down into a K-hole or we could do some inner work and
Brought
really.
back 16 for
But
me.
I like that that Tricia has no idea.
I don't know what a K-hole is.
No.
I
Ketamine.
know that.
Ketamine.
Okay. Yes.
Boom.
You know why I know?
nice.
Oh,
That's so
I
surprising.
actually brought some. You want to find out?
Here, full circle. You want to know why? The kind of only film that I ever did, we were supposed to be on K the whole film.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you- so
and
did
I was
you
in my bra and
research
panties.
it?
Well, they just told us it's ketamine. It's like a horse
So you didn't
tranquilizer.
take
It's like
some.
being
Yeah.
it's like being drunk, but like you can't open your eyes at the same
Yeah,
time.
and your knees give
Oh.
out. Oh,
So
Sounds
just
terrible.
make this face all the time.
right?
When you're,
You always
yeah,
wake
you're
up with
okay.
duct tape on.
It's- yeah.
That's again
that
most
you
of your,
too?
that's
That's
most
interesting.
of your
Wasn't it?
previous nights. So
Damn it!
Most
Where's
of the
my
first
car?
45 years of your life.
I'm curious about this pie. I'm curious about you are an animal psychic, right?
Sure, yeah, you could call it
But
that.
are you also a human? Are you just
I'm
a
a human one as
spiritual
well.
Are you
psychic?
a human one?
I am an ambassador for multidimensional
She's really
connection.
a Maltese
Okay.
terrier.
Yeah. So yeah, I do actually. Did you like that? You're like, I don't. Maybe you know because you're a hippie.
Yeah, I know a little bit about. I'm
That's something
apparently
that-
supposed to be psychic, but I've never had any
Everybody
psychic
is.
abilities.
Yeah, everybody is.
I was born in the sac, in the amniotic sac. It didn't break when I came out. So apparently they say anybody who is like ultra psychic when they're
Uh-huh.
born that way. I don't have. I mean, I've
So
had a
you
couple
came
weird
out
dreams
like a
that
little
came
bubble?
True, but yeah, my
Well,
father
Did
delivered
they
me.
keep it that way for a while? And you just,
I hope not.
And they just like
that might
You were
that
just-
might
just hung him from the
explain
ceiling
like
a
lack
sea
of
mon-
oxygen that
like
I had
a
as
sea monkey.
that is an awesome animated film. And they're like, he's never popped his amniotic sac.
walking
And you're
around.
like 20.
Aaron the sack boy.
smoking cigarettes in there, calling out orders.
I got stories to
Seriously?
tell you.
Somebody needs to write that story. And he's just like,
So
he's
weird.
never broken his sack.
Oh, I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I like how, as a psychic, my question is: do you ever find yourself like seeing things or hearing things to the point where you have to tune it out, where it's hard to tune it out, or is it? Do you have to search it and get it?
Well, okay, that's a good question. So it is no, I don't have to tune it out. So I really believe. Now there are some people who are like, oh, I was a psychic kid, or people who present that their abilities, that they're victim to them, and I don't believe that because I believe we create our own reality. This is a free will universe, end of story, no matter what. So I think that if you are experiencing spiritual or psychic, non-physical phenomena, and you feel like you can't control it, that has to do with your personality. It has to do with what you understand, your power, your empowerment. So, but I have gone through shifts where, like one time when I was going through this period, and I always understood that as I opened up to my spiritual abilities or something, whatever you want to call it, I understood that. I believe that I'm in charge of it, partly because I spent many, many decades of the beginning of my life not experiencing it. So if I could not experience it then, I could not experience it now if I choose to. But yeah, while I was kind of opening it up and having that intention to experience it more, there would be times where I woke up in the middle of the night, or Semi woke up in the middle of the night and said, "Can you keep it down, please?" Because it was like spirits and sounds and like it was a dance party in the spirit realm, and I was
And you have to,
aware of it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't afraid of it because, again, if there are days that I could not be afraid of the devil, then I don't believe in the devil. But I did believe in the devil when I was a kid. But if I could not experience that now, if the spirit realm is a non-local thing, then it's always here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make any sense to be afraid
It's
of a
about
place
your
that's
ability
haunted.
to
Yeah.
kind of filter it or whatever.
Filtering is a good, So even taking off your filters, you can still put them on, and it's about focus.
Right.
And that's what meditation is. It's focusing in on something, and that's what meditation actually means. It means to focus. So I tune is what I call it. I tune. So I can tune to the frequency of animals, communicating with animals telepathically, or tune to the frequency of communicating with people's past loved ones, or tune to the frequency of experiencing angels or ETs that are less physical than we are, or more whatever you want to call it. So yeah. That's how it
cool.
is.
I would love to hear.
Well, here's the thing.
thoughts of
Everyone
animals.
has
The whole thing for this
I also believe everyone has that ability. So yes, of course, we could. I could teach you. I could help you. I could help you to discover your abilities for yourself.
Oh, wow.
This is something that I
she
do.
outs me as a psychic
Yeah, he
all
is.
the time.
Well, he always Oh, by the way, my husband Brian, it was just like day before yesterday. We woke up in the morning and he was like, he doesn't think of himself as psychic either. Although I tell him I see when you have claircognizance occur, which means like psychic knowing just drops into his brain. And I can physically see it. And so he was like, I had a weird dream that we were at the mall with this friend, basically a friend of mine named Tanya, who he hasn't seen in a while. I was like, you, me and Tanya were at the mall, and then there was an earthquake. And I was like, today is Tanya's birthday, right? And he's like, no, why would I know?
so
I don't
crazy.
know. You're leaking on me.
You're leaking
He's
on
afraid
me.
he's going to turn into a witch.
Turn into
Exactly. So because I hold the frequency of believing and activating my abilities. When you're with me, then yours probably heighten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That frequency is offered to you.
I don't know if it's, yeah.
You are. It's super duper
For
psychic.
sure. Well,
You know that.
Intuitive, or yes.
Same
but,
deal.
I can say that honestly, and the whole impetus for this show is that we started getting together, and I was like, at a certain point, I was kind of like, okay, I'll take anything. So if she's got this, like positive energy up her sleeve.
yeah.
Anyway, but I was a cynic. I was a definite cynic to the process.
I guess, yeah.
The first time
I find myself sometimes
I was a
cynical
huge
as well.
cynic.
Not that I'm not a disbeliever, but
We do have a call. Do you want to take a call?
well, yes, I love the
We
caller.
don't have to,
but
but we
anyway,
can.
we did a psychic thing, and we did the first time we
Yeah,
did
let's
it.
take the call.
I
That
want the
sounds
call
fun.
back.
Yeah.
and we
Hang
did
on,
it.
caller, we're gonna take you, but
Hang
Aidan
on,
wants to
we're
finish his
you're
thought.
coming in, and forget it. Anyway, it was great, and I did believe after it. She
You
said
did.
a whole bunch of stuff. Never mind the fact that she told me I was awesome.
That always wins. So you're awesome. I believe.
Who's the
everything.
caller? That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, let's bring the caller on the air.
Now you can see what Tricia does too.
Hi. Well, maybe. Hi, you're on the air. Who's this? Hello, you're on the air. Oh, we heard you for a second. There you are. Oh, you're the.
You guys said I'm like cutting out. Can you?
Yeah, the connection is bad, but go ahead. Who is this? Say your name again. Let's see if we can get Archangel Michael to help the lines of communication.
September.
September, I heard. What's the first name?
Lauren.
Oh, we know who Lauren September is. Hey.
Oh, wait, Lauren September.
Yeah. Hi, honey.
God, I love Lauren
Oh,
September.
I look. Speaking of beautiful lady asses, I remember this one particular party where you were wearing the cutest shorts ever, and I remember saying how adorable your butt looked in
Lauren
them.
September has. I love that you're
a friend
talking
of
about
ours.
her ass right out of the gate.
We were
Is that
talking
what
about butts earlier. so-
Lauren, how are you, sweetheart?
Thanks for calling. What's on your mind, honey?
Everybody, I was just watching this lovely podcast, or I don't know what do you call this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
They
what
don't
we
know
call
either.
it
I
either.
watched it.
It's a
I tried
Oh,
to
we're
powwow.
watch
live physically as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
physically
Oh,
live.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
hey,
saw
there's cameras on
a-
us.
There's cameras on us.
Hey, what's going
I
on?
following wow and like videos. I saw Aidan today, and I got so tickled, and I thought it was this. And like everything you've said today is just so wonderful.
Lauren,
Love
first,
all of you.
Lauren,
love
I love
you.
Lauren, and just seeing Lauren, which I know, which is terrible. I love Lauren so much. I miss you. How you doing, babe?
And Lauren is actually
I love you too, Aidan. I miss you.
Lauren was just Lauren.
And
I
miss
just saw
too,
you.
Tricia.
I miss you, honey. Except that I just saw you on Sharp Objects.
Yes,
that
she's
was
on Sharp
amazing.
Objects.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
I
You're
love
so-
sharp objects.
Yeah.
Lauren, who are you in sharp objects?
she's the pregnant lady with the cute little gray streak in her hair.
Oh yeah, you're awesome. You were great in that.
Oh, you're so
I'm like-
mean.
I'm the pregnant who some burp eyes.
Yes,
I love that you've got roadies in your car.
I know. I told him.
I
and-
had a Kentucky glove box. And
Oh,
a Kentucky glove
can I
box
tell
on
the
an
Kentucky-
HBO show?
Can I tell the Kentucky Glove Box story?
You cannot tell that story.
Okay,
oh,
never mind.
darn it.
Damn it!
Oh, that's
But you can
horrible. Now
imagine-
No, I can't. I don't know what this
never
means.
mind. Well,
the name-
anyway, it all culminated with a drink called the Kentucky Glove Box, which was delicious.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah,
And
and so I think, energy patterns and whatnot, I think it's really that I ended up getting a character on HBO, big show, where I saw whiskey and hiding glove box.
Oh my God!
And made a
That's-
beautiful, proper cocktail too. I was like cracking up about it while we were watching that episode, telling my husband, I was like, "Of course, the bartender
Lauren
gets,
and I worked
gets a
together
proper
at
cocktail
the
scene."
Isn't
spare
that
room.
funny?
That's awesome.
So hilarious.
It's like, of course, the universe. Like, isn't that?
That's how the universe works. That's how energy works. You know.
That is so well, Lauren. What's going on with you besides that? You're not really pregnant, are you?
No, no. I'm hearing you guys, but I apologize. But no, Aidan, I'm not pregnant.
Look at I'm always like Lauren's
I-
dad.
I'm after
Oh shoot, the connection is
bad.
the connection's rough, Lauren. Well, we're almost out of time anyway, but thank you so much. You know, we have to have Lauren on the show. Lauren, will you come on the show sometime?
Have her text one of you the question, and then we can say it right here.
Well, we only have 2 minutes
have
left
2 minutes?
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lauren, it's bad connection, but we love you, baby. And
Lauren, I think you're awesome on sharp objects.
Yeah,
And I heard
so
your butt is
awesome.
nice too.
Your
so
butt
she
is
really does
beautiful.
have a nice little caboose on her.
good for that.
Well, maybe call in again next week or something like that, Lauren, and we'd love to have you on the show. But go check out Sharp Objects on, was that HBO or
HBO.
HBO, thank you.
It's really
Thank
good.
you.
That's
Lauren
a dark
was in
situation.
Lauren
She's really
September. Check out her IMDb and the other work that she's doing. She's a beautiful lady.
What? Okay. What?
We have 2 minutes left.
Oh, we have
so-
2 minutes. Okay. So
Let's
wait. No,
tell-
I want to hear that transfer too. Can I finish his story?
I can make
Wait.
it in 20 seconds.
All right,
Okay.
20
Fat kid
seconds.
to
Fat kid to
metaphysical
to-
balanced human
and,
being.
You know, it's always a struggle. It's always a struggle. Always working on it. But I focused on health, getting laid, other aspects than just having a six pack or looking good. And the transformation came within, and it took a lot of I went through some really crazy stuff. I was almost married. Was left like 2 months
I like
before
that
the
that's
wedding.
almost crazy.
Well, I mean, I was 2 months before the wedding. I was left, so
God.
it caused a lot of heartache and a lot of heartbreak.
Yeah.
It kind of the damage kind of created the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Kind of created something in me that allowed me to transform even further in my life. And I think sometimes it's necessary to reach that.
All right, we truly have only
Okay, that's all I
15
had to
seconds
say.
left. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
to our
so
guest,
much
Aaron
for
Schwartz.
coming.
Check him out at Aaron Schwartz. What's the
11.
Aaron
And come
Schwartz
back
11,
I want to
master
hear
number.
about this documentary later on.
Yeah, that's definitely
Right. We'll do it.
And do join us live next
Thank you.
week. Follow us
I wanted
at
a reading.
Enlightened AF Pod. We'll see you next
Yes.
week. Thanks for tuning in.